Hello! We have 3 stories today of entitled kids. We often cover entitled people, entitled parents. But where's the spot for entitled kids? Apparently, it's Am I the Jerk? And our first story comes with a dose of culture shock. Did anyone ever watch the classic series City Slickers? At least, I think it's a classic. It was old even when I first watched it. It followed a trio of pampered men from the big city on an adventure in more rural parts. And, of course, there's a happy ending when our city slickers learn the value of the slower way of life out there. But what happens when the city slicker is an entitled, snobby teen upstart? Apparently, just a whole lot of plummeting property values. Story 1. I'm an 18-year-old female and I live with my parents. We moved last year away from a big city to a cheaper, more rural community in the Midwest. Since my dad's retired now and money goes further here to finish up my last year of high school, we have by far the smallest lot out here, but most of our neighbors are farmers with quite a bit of land. I don't feel like I fit in well with the neighbors and have had some arguments with some of them and their kids. They're up early making noise every morning with farm machinery. Yelled at me for listening to rap music loud in the car late at night with a friend from high school. It was only 9 or so. Most recently, they let one of their cows get into our yard when it was grazing while I was out in the backyard. I gave them a dirty look and stood there while they tried to get it back. Recently, I guess he talked to my dad and gave him some sort of redneck, "we don't take kindly" speech about my behavior. And that wasn't how things operated around these parts. He asked for me to apologize. So my dad asked me to, but I refused because I think they're in the wrong towards me. I saw him out back one day, and he asked me if I had anything to say about my attitude. I said, "I haven't done anything wrong to you. I just think you should respect other people's property boundaries." So he said, "All right, have it your way," and walked off. Well, Dad and I left town for spring break. But when we came back, we noticed construction was heavily underway, almost complete on a large shed structure. It was right up against the property line, maybe 20 feet from our house. My mom asked a woman who lives a bit further down if they knew what it was about, and they said, "Oh yeah, guess the word is that they've had some trouble with your daughter and they've decided to put in a pig barn." My parents freaked out, asked around, and heard that was a known tactic to drive out unwanted neighbors, and very effective. Dad called the city and asked about odor nuisance laws and what can be done. He was told the area is zoned agricultural and that it was more of an honor system thing. The farmers wouldn't do that without more land. However, he technically was allowed to have up to 200 pigs on the property. He asked the neighbor if he would reconsider, but he said that the order of pigs is already scheduled and his mind was made up. Now my dad is furious with me and frantic about what to do. But I don't think it's my fault. I told him to just ignore it and just try to deal with it. They already have plenty of cows and horses. A barn of pigs is just one more addition. It's not going to drive you out of your house. But he's acting like he's going to have to sell the house for half the price. And it's all my fault? Am I the jerk? In the comments, Stoned Writer Chick said, "Everyone's the jerk. You're definitely being a little turd, but you're a teenager, so it's expected. The neighbors are also being dorks, though. But I feel like there might be more to the story here. Though honestly, you're being a sulky teenager and need to chill. It's 1 year, then off to college. Well, maybe not anymore, because I guarantee you will have to move. Pigs scream." Lexi Sexy Maxi said, "You're the jerk. Your teenage rebellion has made your parents' retirement years absolute hell. You'll understand soon enough. These farmers know what they're doing here, and this is pro-nuclear revenge from them to you. Your inheritance will be diminished because of this." Reckless Rachel said, "Bro, I don't know where you're from, but the Midwest is a whole new game. Early to bed, early to rise, hard, laborious farm work. Also, people in the Midwest are big on respect. Maybe the Midwest isn't for you." Yes, OP, you're the jerk. 1 year from college is old enough to start treating people with respect, and shooting dirty looks will not get you far in life. On a totally separate note, I know pigs can be super loud, but boy are they cute. I'll take a little babe, please. Thank you very much. They can be house trained. Our second story hit the top 3 for the year so far, as one mom reaches a breaking point with a teenage daughter on a mission to make sure no one gets any sleep in their house. The story was so inexplicably polarizing, it had people calling the mom everything from hero to abuser when the daughter called the mom's bluff. Not once, not twice, but 5 times. I mean, at that point, you just gotta do it, right? Story 2. I'm a 40-year-old female and I have 3 kids. Maggie, 14-year-old female, Levi, 12-year-old male, and Charlie, 10-year-old male. Not real names. Levi and Charlie share a bedroom and Maggie has her own room as the oldest and also only girl. Maggie is a great kid. She does her homework, helps with chores without too much complaint, doesn't bug her little brothers too much. The issue is that she will not stop slamming her bedroom door. When she gets up to use the bathroom at night, she slams her bedroom door on her way out and back in. When she gets up in the morning or goes to bed at night, she slams it. Pretty much any time she enters or exits her room, the door gets slammed. And it's only her door, none of the other doors in the house. It shakes the walls and frequently wakes up everyone else in the house. Her brother's room shares a wall with hers, and our bedroom is directly above theirs. We've talked to her about it and asked her very politely to please be more mindful about it because it is disturbing the rest of us. But it's in one ear and out the other. We tried being more forceful about it, saying that if she continues to slam her door, there will start to be consequences. Still, nothing changes. It all came to a head the other night when she got up to use the bathroom and all 4 of us were woken up by the slamming. I have to be up at 5 a.m. for work and I've had enough of the broken sleep and came downstairs and knocked on her door. She opened it and said, "What?" With such attitude, it took a lot of self-control not to start yelling. I told her as calmly as I could that if she slammed that door one more time, she was going to come home and find it gone. She proceeded to yell at me to leave her alone and then slammed it 5 times as hard as she could. Well, the next day, Friday, she went to school and my husband and I both had the day off. So we used the opportunity and took the door off the frame and installed a curtain rod with a nice heavy curtain over the door. She came home and freaked the frack out. She said we're being emotionally abusive and taking away her right to privacy. She sulked all weekend and won't talk to us now. My mother says I'm the jerk because I overreacted, but she doesn't have to deal with the house shaking. I want to add that we completely respect each other's privacy in our house, which is why we hung up a heavy curtain and made sure that we couldn't see through it or around it. We even put little Velcro pieces on the walls and curtain side so it stays in place. She still has her physical privacy, which she is absolutely entitled to, but can't slam a piece of fabric. We also have never and still don't just go into her room unannounced and still knocked on the wall to ask permission to enter. We've told her we'll happily put her door back on when she agrees to respect the no slamming rule. So am I the jerk? Edit. The curtain is an industrial type that blocks sound and light. The curtain is only meant to be a temporary measure. As soon as she agrees to stop slamming and be respectful of the shared space, we will put it right back on. The door isn't broken or malfunctioning in any way, and there is no draft causing it to swing shut. In the comments, Dragonfire Lettuce said, "Not the jerk, that's what I call checkmate. You're teaching your kid a valuable lesson. Actions have consequences, and she's even able to reverse this decision if she agrees to not slam." Which for some reason, she won't agree to it? P.S. The curtain was a great touch. OP replied, "I think she'll agree once she's done sulking. She's digging her heels in right now because she's a 14-year-old carbon copy of me. Once it goes back on, though, I won't even mention the situation again as long as the slamming doesn't start up again." OP shared, "It's absolutely only intended to be a temporary measure to get our point across. As soon as she acknowledges that she's disturbing the rest of the family and agrees to stop slamming, it'll go right back on." Aw geez, what now? Added, "When you do reinstall it, can you also install one of those slow closer mechanisms, no idea what they're called, that both auto-close a door but would also prevent slamming? And maybe require her to pay for it as a stipulation for getting the door back?" On a mission added, "Or the teenager could just not slam the door and be conscientious of other people in the household for the low price of $0. What's that saying? My house, my rules? OP is not the jerk. As a light sleeper, a door being consistently slammed after repeated requests to have it stop would drive me nuts. And nobody wants to see me sleep deprived. It's worse than hangry Cece. And the attention to detail with the little Velcro bits is lovely. These seem like awesome parents. What do you think? Did they go too far? Or does the punishment fit the crime here? Our third story trades a mom with an iron will for a father with an iron fist. When one child gets a little too entitled and treats mom as a maid, the dad decides enough is enough, and that it's time for the age-old lesson of keeping your mouth shut called If you don't like how it's done, you do it. Story 3. I came home about a month ago and caught my son yelling at his mom about his clothes. He was asking her how hard it was to make sure his clothes were cleaned. I took him to the laundry room and made him do laundry for the family. I taught him what clothes could go together and what should not. My wife is a teacher and she works her tail off to make sure we have a nice home to live in. She tells me what she needs me to do and I take care of it. Beyond my share of the housework, I mean. Well, my kid needs to be punished and I thought of the best possible way to do it. I'm sending my wife to Mexico with her school friends over spring break. I'm going to work from home that week and keep an eye on the kids. It won't be difficult because I'm putting the older one in charge of the younger one. He will be doing laundry, making breakfast and lunch for both of them, and making sure the kitchen and dining room stay clean. He said it's unfair to make him work over spring break. I asked him if he thought it was a full-time job to do all that I was expecting of him. He said yes, it was a full-time job. I pointed out that his mother and I both have full-time jobs and still manage to do everything that he is whining about. He called my mom to see if he could stay there for spring break. She tried to tell me I was being cruel to her poor baby. I asked her what exactly her and my father would have done to me if I had yelled at her for not doing my laundry. She said that it was a different time. I said he could stay with her if she was willing to tell him, in front of me, all the punishment I endured when I lived at home. She said he could not stay there. In the comments, Doormat Jones said, "Loving that last paragraph and sentence. That's telling as far as your mom goes." I bet some people here are going to scream, "Parentification!" But 1 week as a punishment for how he's acting seems more than fair. One could also agree with your comment about being a jerk for letting it get that far, but I'm hesitant to call someone a jerk when they're aware and fixing it, so not the jerk. Everything sounds fair here, and your mom needs to stop being a hypocrite. In response to, she tried to tell me I was being cruel to her poor baby. Kieran 2013 said, "And he will continue to be a child past adulthood if he doesn't start to learn how to fend for himself. Parents, you are supposed to be teaching your kids how to fend for themselves when they leave the nest. Doing everything for them and then allowing them to yell at you is highly counterproductive. Not the jerk." Inconceivable 76 added, "That's not mom, that's grandma, totally different." Not the jerk. This goes alongside not complaining about dinner if you're not the one cooking. Complaining just happens to be one of those things that is so often done by those who are in fact not doing much. And I just have to end on this one because you all know how much I'm a sucker for bathroom humor. Complaining is mouth farting, and like any farting, I don't mind hearing my own, but I don't want to hear anyone else's. And that's it for today. Until next time, shine bright, starlight. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.